Welcome to Agency Allies, the show where we sit down with leaders shaping the future of branding, design, and advertising. No fluff, just what it's really like working inside today's top agencies. Today we have John Gumas. He's been the CEO of Gumas in San Francisco for 41 years, which is quite a long time. And he was telling me he's also an avid you said you have involvement with a few different baseball teams.
Yeah, professionally, we have clients and so forth that are involved over the years. You get to do a lot of fun things over a 41-year career.
Yeah, wow. You do not see a lot of LinkedIn job boxes that are above like 10 years. So when I saw 41 years, I was like, Jesus.
Well, I was 12 years old when I started, just so you know.
Early to the game, yeah. So can you share a little bit about your role as CEO and how it kind of fits? Like, I'd really love to hear like maybe what a typical day for you looks like.
Yeah, well, let me give you a little update or background on the company. I think that will help me describe what my typical day looks like. So I am the CEO of a full service branding, advertising, and digital marketing firm by the name of Gumas. And what we do is we've created and we've invented and we execute this methodology called challenger brand marketing. So our clients are mid-size organizations that are either up against behemoth organizations that are outspending them, or out resourcing them. And what do I mean by that is most people think of like marketing budgets, but there's other ways your competitors can out resource you. If you're a retailer, they can have more locations. If you're a B2B company, they can have bigger sales force, or generally they can have just better brand recognition. In essence, if you don't have more resources, more money, more locations than your biggest competitors, you can't compete head to head. So we've created this methodology that helps mid-sized companies really grow and compete and effectively utilize the resources that they have so they can see results and generate growth within their company.
Right. And it's 5-pronged, right? We have discovery, strategy, design, measurement, and what's the fifth one?
Yeah, it's the ongoing management. So the process, right, and you described the 5-step process. And typically where most companies start is at the 3rd or 4th level, and that's where they just start designing ads or they just start running media, placing ads out there. Well, I can tell you that typically doesn't work because you're assuming and you're guessing, and what you're assuming and guessing, is what you need to say, because your message is the most important thing. So we go through this process and it starts with what we call discovery, which is asking very, very unique questions, scientifically created over the years to really extract the truth out of folks we're talking to. And the key people we talk to are really 2 key segments. Talk to our customers' best customers. Right? When we want to talk to them, we ask them really unique questions designed to engage them so we can understand the emotional reason behind why they do business with our clients. That's critical because that helps us understand the messaging, what we have to say to these people to find other people out there just like them. So we do a similar set of interviews because we need to get this perspective of our clients and their key folks internally. The CEO on down to the CMO and anyone else who's customer facing, we want to ask them similar questions so we can understand the essence of the brand, the essence of their organization, right? So understanding what your customer needs to hear and understanding what the essence of the brand is, those 2 points of contact give you mostly what you need. Then we add in a 3rd element, and that is the competition. We want to look at the competition, the main competitors. What are they saying? How are they saying it? What's their position? How are they going after these same customers we're going after? So those 3 points of data gathering, of interviews, right in the middle is essentially our truth, our answers, right? It's our message. And it's also our strategy. So that's the first step. We gather the data. And it's a process, and I won't bore you with the entire process. That was like the high level version of it. So we take that data, and from there, we go to the 2nd step, which is developing the strategy and the messaging. Okay, that's all developed not based on guessing or based on assumption. It's based on data and fact. Because when you go to market and start spending money, you want to make sure what you're saying is actually going to work. So that's the 2nd step. Now we have the messaging in place and the strategy. And the 3rd step is the creative, the visuals. This is what most people think about when it comes to marketing. And it's where most people start their marketing journey. And the problem with that is you're assuming and you're guessing and you think And the problem is typically you don't really know what your customers truly want. And sometimes you don't even know what your colleagues within the company really want to do. So
Hmm.
this process really helps everyone get on the same page. So the third step, to your point, is the creative. The fourth step is the go-to-market. Okay, now you have the creative. How do you get it out there? What's the most effective way? And again, you can't just always assume. And so that we put the plan in place. And the fifth step is once the plan is going, then you're managing this every day, literally every hour of the day, to maximize it, to optimize it, get it better and better and better. So those are the 5 steps of the challenger brand process. And that's what we use. That's how we create results, create success for our client. And we do it in a way that really reduces, if not eliminates, all of the like guessing, all of the risk that is associated with spending money in marketing.
And which one of those steps would you classify as like the most time consuming or difficult?
Well, you know what? I would say none of them are difficult, but I would rephrase your question and ask what most critical.
Hmm.
Okay, what step is the most critical? And that's the first step, the gathering of the data. Because if we don't do that right, if we don't get the data right, then the campaigns are never going to work the way they do. And that's what we have found. The number one reason why campaigns fail is because companies don't go through that process. Again, they really think they know. Because there's an interesting phenomena that happens with individuals within a company. You live that company every day. You're there every day. You live it. You know it better than anyone else. You know it inside and out. You know it. You assume everyone you're talking to has that same understanding, has that same knowledge, but it's not true. So what happens, it's impossible for those folks to step outside of their company and look at it from the outside in objectively, right? Just like a prospective new customer would. Because
Right.
remember, a prospective new customer is not only looking at you, but they're looking at your competitors as well. And all your competitors are probably saying the same thing that you're saying. You know what? All your competitors are probably saying, they're saying great things to try to lure those same prospects to them. So if you don't do that first step of the discovery right, then you're lost. You never really find your way. You never really are saying the right thing to the right people, and you're never going to see the ultimate results that you would like to see.
Yeah, I agree. And then speaking of your agency, do you mind just sharing like how many people are at your agency?
Our agency is 40 people.
40 people.
We're in San Francisco and Arizona.
And which kind of clients do you typically work with?
Well, we work with clients of all shapes and sizes. So the agency doesn't concentrate or specialize in a category. It specializes in a methodology, challenger
Mhm.
brand marketing methodology. But as a result, we have lots of clients in the financial industry, small banks, credit unions. We have a lot of clients in hospitality, hotels, service, various things. We have a lot of B2B clients. We have clients in the medical arena. We have clients across all sorts of professional services as well. So it's quite a wide array because all challenger brands are the same. Doesn't matter what industry they're in, they all are challenger brands, and they really need to focus on them being on them and their challenger brand uniqueness.
Yeah, they've got to be scrappy and they've got to stretch a dollar and they've got to take risks.
And every dollar counts, right? And they've got to approach this where they don't have a second chance. They only get one shot at success.
Mhm.
So we better be right. So that's the critical part of it.
I'd love to hear some of the people watching this podcast are thinking about getting into the ad agency or they're just kind of interested in how other agencies kind of run day to day. Would you mind just sharing a little bit of like your day to day? What does that look like?
Yeah, my day to day, if you were to ask me my number one job is to maintain the culture of the company.
Mhm.
All right. I want to make sure that everyone working for our company loves working for our company. I want to make sure everyone here understands that they matter. And not only as an individual, but as a professional, they matter. And, put them in situations to succeed. But at the same time, right, that's my commitment to them. Any employee, any team member's commitment to the company, right, needs to be one of that's similar, right? You need to put the company first. You need to, if you don't enjoy being somewhere, you shouldn't be there, right? I mean, that would be, but maybe you didn't ask the question, but I'm going to answer it anyway. If you don't enjoy working somewhere, don't work there. Find somewhere
Mhm.
where you enjoy because you want to be happy. right? You want to be happy. You want to love what you do. And if you don't love what you do, maybe you're in the wrong place. So back to your original question, right? My job is to make sure that the culture is set up so people who love doing what they do can thrive, right? That they look forward to coming to work. They look forward to what they're doing. They're working with good people and they're being respected. But at the same time, you know what? They're being set up for success. They're being put in the best position that we possibly can place them in so they can succeed. And I found that if people like what they do, are happy where they are, the chances of them succeeding are significantly higher. And you create a culture, right? You create a culture where everyone feels that they can communicate. Everyone feels if there's an issue, they can bring it forward. If they have a recommendation for something that might improve the agency and improve the culture, they need to feel free to be able to say something. So that's I would say that in my day-to-day, that's my biggest function. And of course, you're running a company, right? I mean, all the fun stuff that comes with running a company and with a lot of people and a lot of clients, that's obviously at the top of my list as well.
Yeah, and I'd love to hear more about like on the client side, but we can move into like, I'd really like to kind of hear your perspective on industry trends, like what shifts are you seeing and how they've maybe affected your business?
Yeah, I would, I don't think it comes as any surprise at the top of that list is AI. AI is certainly affecting the industry a lot. It's kind of the Wild West right now with AI.
Sure is, yeah.
You don't know where it's going, what it's doing. Everything from Chat GPT all the way down to other tools that allow you to analyze, allow you to write copy or create visuals, all these incredible tools. But they're coming at you so fast. They're coming at you so fast, and every day there's a new one. So we have to be really careful as to which tools that we embrace and which tools we use and don't use. But the one thing about AI that I can tell you is still not there yet, right? AI can write, let's say take copy, for example. It can write good copy. But the one thing that AI really isn't quite there yet, maybe if we're having this conversation 6 months from now, maybe it is, but right now it's not, where any sort of communication, any sort of copy, any sort of advertising exposure in any way, whether it's social media all the way through to a conventional television ad, whether it's connected TV or conventional, needs to have some emotion in it, because emotion is what that connector, right? When you and I are talking, there's got to be some emotion behind what we're saying. So AI is not quite there yet in terms of the emotion. It's good for creating kind of general ideas, getting you started. So a bunch of baseballs behind me. I use a baseball analogy. You're starting at second base, right? When you're starting to create something, you're starting at second base with AI versus sitting in the dugout. So it speeds things up. My concern is I don't know what that means for future employment. I am guessing that at some point it's going to affect how many people an agency needs to have. But I'm also going to predict that by then other positions will be opening up. Positions that, how do you get the most out of AI? All right, how do you maximize AI to its fullest extent? I think that's going to be a little sub industry in itself.
Do you have people at Gumas that, I mean, I know probably your designers are using different AI software in Adobe, but like, have you adopted AI for anything for like sales or clients, or, I mean, there's a million different uses.
We are starting doing that right now. And in fact, we were having an interesting conversation about the ethics of that. Think about this for a moment, right? How would consumers feel? You as a consumer, me as a consumer, all your audience as consumers feel if that ad or that, promotional piece, that social media content, whatever it is, was created by AI. It wasn't created by a person. It wasn't created by the company. It wasn't the brand talking to the company. It was an AI generated piece. How would you feel? Would you trust that brand more? Would you trust it less? Would you not care? Does it matter? You know what I mean? That's kind of the ethical part of that, is what we were talking about. And let's say, when it comes to the way AI is like Chat GPT and other similar services operate, you don't know where the content comes from. right? Typically, right? So a visual, you don't know where that visual came from. Hopefully it's not a copyrighted piece somewhere. I mean, they do their best to try to avoid that, but you have to do your own due diligence, and make sure that what you're using is valid. So it's a great tool, but it's not right now. It's not a 100%. I can only use that. It's a great tool to get you started and move things along faster as it stands right now.
Is there anywhere where you would like to see AI, like kind of unburden the load of agency life?
I think, everywhere in terms of analyzing data. I think that's something AI can do from when you're looking at analysis of ad campaigns and things like that, where lots of numbers, lots of repetitive, looking at downloads and looking at time on site and looking at whatever, there's hundreds and hundreds of KPIs you look at. I think AI can certainly help with that. Like we talked from a creative perspective, I think they can get the process started from ideas, right? And get you ideas that you can look at, things you didn't think about. But yeah, I think a lot of the manual tasks it helps really well with. But I'm just a little concerned about the human emotion that is needed, especially in challenger brand marketing. It really is a connection, right? And especially as you're talking about young consumers, they want to connect with the brand. I'll give you an example. So how would you feel right now? Let's say if you found out that me, right, we've been talking for 20 minutes now, you found out that I'm not a real person. If I'm an AI generated bot, how would you,
Yeah.
I mean, really think about that. Well, how would you feel about me?
Oh gosh, that would be pretty scary.
Wouldn't, I mean, you'd probably feel a little betrayed, maybe.
Yeah.
Probably, I mean, that's the point I'm trying to make, right? With a lot of these creative executions. Yeah, you've seen them. I've seen videos that are created with AI. I mean, they're pretty incredible.
Right.
But you
Yeah.
look closely, you can see the glitches.
For
But
now.
still, yeah, for now.
For
But my
now.
point, right? It's more of a philosophical point is how would you feel if you found out? And should they have told you up front that this was AI created? I think that is going to be the next issue is more of the moral philosophical issue of AI, especially when it comes to creative and communication.
Let's bring it to kind of in a general sense, like what has been working well for Gumas and what's been frustrating lately? It could be like operational, it could be, just kind of agency life, however you want to answer.
Well, I think agency life in general is very fast paced, right? It does not stop. It moves. And you either love that or you don't love it as much. I happen to love it. And most of the folks that work in our company love it too. But sometimes, it goes faster than is normal. And it's during those times. And I refer to those as good problems because that means you're busy and you always want to be busy. But sometimes you can almost this industry can become too busy very fast. And so you're always looking to, you're trying to maneuver everyone within the organization to get things done that are the hottest projects, the fires you have to put out, et cetera. So that could be stressful. That could be stressful for everyone from me all the way down to, our line employees. So trying to manage that, I think has always been, and I think will always be the number one management issue in an agency. And, you don't want to burn your people out, but from a business perspective, you got to keep them busy. You got to keep them, occupied. So it's this fine line of how do you, keep everyone busy, but not overworked and, delivering what the clients need and delivering it at a high quality.
And so I mean, yeah, it sounds like time is really frustrating. What is that time being spent on in excess?
Well, I would say everything you touch can be in excess, right? It's developing strategy. At what point is the strategy good enough, right?
Right. There is a level, I know from my own experience, there's definitely a level of perfectionism and strategy and
Exactly.
design.
There are times in place for perfection, and there are times in place where it doesn't matter as much. And I think recognizing and having individuals, whether it's creative individuals, strategy folks, media folks, whatever they are, social media or content generators, at what point, is this good enough to get out there versus spending twice as much time to get it to a perfection point that maybe you don't need. But, it's what you want to do. When to stop, I think is probably the biggest factor I see right now, because that happens, on an ongoing basis, regular basis.
It's the ad agency curse.
It sure is.
We're
Yeah.
all drawn to the perfectionism of beautiful design and
Yeah, and it's
slick
a business,
copy.
right? So if you're getting paid to work on something for 10 hours and you're putting 20 hours in it, well, that's not a financial model that's going to last long.
What type of like being at an agency, like what type of like maybe it's on the customer side, like or client side, like what type of metrics are you guys looking to improve?
Well, I mean, that really is, every client is different. Every single client is different, and every client has different metrics, KPIs, key performance indicators that they're trying to achieve. The basics, right? The sales, visitors, downloads, all those are basic things. But we want to look at things like engagement. We want to look at things like brand recognition. We want to look at some of those KPIs that really give you a sense of the trend of the business, really give you a sense of the success of the campaigns. And, we're very cognizant about talking to our clients and talking to their clients to find out, because at the end of the day, right, the best way to get information from someone is, you ever seen one of these that are calls a telephone? You just kind of pick it up and you call somebody and you say, hey, so how's it going? Versus sending them a note, sending them a chat GPT generated email. And so it is, and you don't have to talk to a lot of people, but it's this good old fashioned person to person communication that so far, to me, if you want to get real insight as to how things are working, how it's doing, how people, what they like, it really is a good old fashioned tool that works really, really well. And you don't need to talk to a lot of people. You just need to talk to a handful, and you can learn pretty quickly whether things are going great, you need to improve things somewhere.
Where do you think Gumas, where would you like to see Gumas 6 to like 12 months from now? Is there anything you guys are working on or any kind of KPIs you want to hit?
We're at a very good growth pace right now. Again, we've been in business 41 years. We're not looking to change something that's working. We have a very structured and conservative growth plan. Every year we grow, and we like to see most of that growth come from our existing clients, because we know we're doing it right if we can get our clients to grow. And I think most agencies should look at things that way. If you can get your existing clients to grow, that's going to grow. Then any new clients you bring in are just kind of gravy, the cherry on top. Our job, is number one, to get our clients' businesses to grow. I consider myself, and everyone in our agency consider ourselves not a branding advertising firm. We consider ourselves a business building firm. Our job is to build our clients' businesses. We just happen to do it using branding, advertising, digital marketing, and all these other strategies that we have and tools that we have. But ultimately, right, the reason they're doing this, the reason they spend this money, invest this money, is to grow their business. So we tend to be a little bit more than just a niche organization that does their marketing. We help them look at the bigger picture too, in terms of their overall company structure, how marketing fits into that, how marketing connects to their sales forces, their sales teams, how marketing integrates with their conferences, their trade shows, how it connects to their sales reps, right? When clients call in, what's the message that we give to customers calling in? So all of those things, that complete 360 of a business, marketing should touch every single part of that. And that's our approach to our clients, and that's how we help them grow business, and that's how we help ourselves grow our business, because when they grow, we grow. When they're successful, we're successful. And that's our approach.
And then what if you could solve like one challenge facing Gumas today? What would it be? It sounds like you guys have everything on lock. You're kind of growing at a really nice pace. You maybe wish there was more time in the day to do things. You're very aware of employee burnout. And these are all kind of very normal agency thing. I feel like every agency has this type
every
of thing.
agency goes exactly.
But if there was one major kind of challenge that you're facing,
well, I would say it's AI based. And what I mean by that is, so many people out there, clients and prospective clients, think that AI is going to solve everything. All I have to do is just press an AI button and everything gets done, and I don't need to do all the things that you're talking about. can't tell you how many times I hear that. I'm hearing that more and more. And that's frustrating because you and I both know that's not the case. AI is a great tool for certain things, but it does not eliminate the need to talk to your customers. It does not eliminate the need to take that data and look at that data emotionally and create messaging that is emotional, and to create campaigns based on, knowledge versus an AI bot. AI helps. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it's not the catch-all for everything. And hearing some folks just think that it is, I'd say right now it's probably for us is in the last few months has been the most frustrating part, just convincing people that's not the case. It's not.
I would love to hear like what one of those conversations sounds like. Like
Uh,
maybe it's like it's a bubblegum company and they're like, well, we know AI is really making big waves. Can you give us a marketing engine that works on AI and just make all our dreams come true? How does this kind of dialogue?
yeah. I'll give you a typical example. It can be any company, but I'll take your bubblegum company. So you tell them, okay, in order to find out what your unique brand is, what your challenger brand position is, your essence, your brand essence, your messaging, we need to go through this discovery process. And they'll come back and say, no need for that. I just put in the chat GPT, what should we say? And it came out, hey, our bubblegum's fantastic. It's good. It's flavorful. It's wonderful. Buy it. That's all we need. And I'm not kidding you. I'm really, this
No,
happens.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And at which point, we say, well, I've been doing this a long time. And if this were me, I would not put any money behind that because it will not work. It will not work because it's not rooted in what you need to talk to. It's not rooted in talking to the right people. It's not rooted in the things that you need to look at and the emotion that needs to be added to anything you say, even the campaigns you build. And AI can't do that. So when you get clients that really think the process is so easy now because it's AI driven, that's the frustration, I would say.
I used to design logos for a very long time, and I know how that feels. When people think that ChatGPT can make the perfect logo.
Let me give you an example of that. All right. It wasn't a client. It was a friend who was working at another agency, and they had a client that developed the logo for some product launch that they were doing and didn't have the agency do it, but they did it. So the product launches and the product is out there about 3 months. And then all of a sudden they get this legal letter from someone that says, you're using those elements in your logo are these exact elements in our logo. You need the cease and desist. And by the way, you owe us damages for, and it cost them, I'm going to tell you the number. It was a lot of money. It was a lot of money because somebody on their client side thought, hey, you know what? Instead of paying a guy like Adam who's going to do this right, we're just going to go in the chat GPT and create this. Well, obviously some of the visuals were extracted from visual somewhere in the sphere that was a little piece of something that they should not have used, but they didn't know. And it's hard to know. But that happened fairly recently, and cost them a lot of money.
Wow. That's really interesting to hear, like a real world kind of fallout. But while we're on the subject of AI, we do know that it's kind of, in many ways, the future of things. It just kind of depends on like how we use it. Do you think that agencies need to, like, I'm hearing that like your clients are kind of bringing it up. Do you think an agency needs AI to be competitive, like to appear competitive to clients?
Yeah, I think if you put your head in the sand and pretend AI doesn't exist, you're not going to be around long.
Yeah.
You have to embrace it, but I think the key is how you embrace it. And I can tell you, our clients very, very much appreciate our approach to AI. We don't say no to AI. We give them a solution that may include parts of AI, but in certain parts you can use it, in certain pieces you can't, right? Like we talked about earlier, the messaging and certain things that have emotion attached to them, creative, that sort of stuff. You got to be really careful. But when it comes to analyzing a campaign, yeah, there's some great tools that save a lot of time, even on the media side, right? A lot of tools that save a lot of time, but it's somewhere in the middle. And I think agencies need to be experts in AI, the good and the bad, so they can advise clients of how to use it and where to use it, not only from their marketing perspective, but through their entire organization, because it's here and it's here to stay. But it's just being able to be the voice of reason to clients, to tell them, how to use it and how not to use it. And agencies need to learn how to use it too, right?
And have you guys been like learning how to use it, kind of staying on the tool? I know there's like a bajillion different tools. I talk to agencies about AI all the time. Have you guys kind of started that foray? It sounds like you guys are really digging into, and it's a good talk to like really discuss like the ethics. I love the point that you made where you were like, imagine if I, John, was AI, what would you think then? I'd be like, I'd be pretty pissed off, John. um, so like, what does the future hold for, I guess, Gumas and utilizing AI or any type of trend that's happening?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I can tell you, we're embracing it.
Yeah.
We're embracing it, and we're looking at it. We're going to be smart about it. And you know what you said a minute ago about there's a gazillion was the term you used, the different variations, and you're right. The challenge is, right, we don't want any of our clients, or we don't want ourselves to be committed to a platform that is not going to be embraced by society. Okay, so many of these are coming and many of them are going. We want to see who the leaders are and who are the credible sources to partner with in AI tools to partner with. And I think that's what we need to find out first, and not use one of these fly-by-night programs or something that we feel that may or may not be in our client's best interest. So to answer your question, we're taking a very conservative approach, a very serious approach. We have a few people dedicated just doing exactly that, to see, and we're you know, they're evaluating tools all the time, and we'll see where it goes from there. But the one thing I will tell you, Adam, if you and I had this conversation 3 months from now, what I'm telling you is going to be very different, because it's changing that fast.
Yeah, it certainly is. And are these people, is it like on the sales side, or is the people looking into this, are they kind of your client acquisition team? Or it sounds like a lot of your business, your model is building clients up, not really getting new clients.
Well, I'd be foolish if I told you that getting new clients was not part of what I am telling you is the priority. If we can get most of our growth from our current clients growing, we are doing our job and we are building a more stable company. But you're always bringing in new clients. What that allows us to do, it allows us to be a little more selective with the clients we bring in. And I think for many agencies, what tends to be the Achilles heel is they bring in clients because they need them bad. And they bring in clients that are not the right fit, whether it's professionally, what the client needs is not what the agency does well, or personally. You know what? At the end of the day, this is people do business with people, right? And sometimes there's certain people on the client side that, to be honest, they're just not nice. They're just not ethical. They're just not good people. You know, when you're in a better position, you can say no to those clients and say, well, it's just not a fit for us. That's because true. We've been fortunate. The clients that we bring in are fits, and we take a lot of time and effort and research to make sure they're a fit, not only for us, but for them.
I'd love to hear like what makes a client a fit.
Well, I'll start with the most basic thing, all right? You and I are having a conversation, right? You're a great guy, you know, and yeah, I'd love to have dinner with you and find out more about you and, you know, as a friend. To me, that is the most basic of basic things right now. Is that a good person, right? Is the team, are they good, ethical people? And is their product viable, first of all? And is it legitimate, right? Is it something that is going to really help? And is something that's going to make a real difference? So I think with the talk of AI and tech and everything, you sometimes lose track of that most basic human connection, right? It's just people doing business with people. The tools we use, are all crazy AI and this and that. But at the end of the day, I got to have a conversation with you, Adam. I got to explain to you why. If you got an issue with something going on with your company, you got to feel comfortable to call me and just talk to me about it. Right now, as it exists currently that I know of, there's no AI tool that you can plug in that will do that, because it's still, right? It's still people doing business with people. And that's the first thing that we look at. And then we obviously look at viability of their idea, their product. They have to be able to commit to funding what they need to do. If they don't have any money to put behind it, that tells me they're not serious. But if they do have money to put behind it, then we become very serious, and we become if we're going to spend their money, we better make sure it works. And if it doesn't work, then everyone's in trouble.
Can you hear me? Sorry, I cut out there.
Yeah, I can hear you.
think I missed that last part. What I heard is that with AI, like you really value the more human touch, especially with. Are you frozen? Okay, there you go. Yeah, I'm sorry. I cut out for a second, so I kind of missed a
Yeah,
lot.
no,
But
yeah. I think you froze there for a second. But yeah,
yeah,
let me answer that again. I'll just kind of give you the overview, but it is at the end of the day, right? People do business with people, and you have to feel comfortable with each other, because all the tools we use, whether it's AI or whatever it is, those are tools that enhance what we do from an executional perspective, but they don't take over everything, right? It's still at the end of the day, you as a client need to be comfortable, be able to call me and trust me that I have your best interest at heart and I'm going to help you. And if there's an issue, if there's an opportunity, if there's whatever, you and I can talk, and I can talk it through. Because again, this is, until robots replace you and robots replace me, it's going to be a human talking to another human. And we use the AI tools, but it's still a human talking to a human.
it sounds like your ideal client has to have authenticity and heart.
Yeah. And they have to have commitment to their own company. All right. Commitment to want to execute, and commitment to want to grow, and commitment to want to do it right, and to fund it. Right. And that's the other thing, is a lot of folks have big ideas, but they don't have realistic investments in their company. And I think that's where that kind of separates the successful companies from the companies that have great ideas but are never successful, because they just don't have the wherewithal to fund what needs to be done. And AI is not going to solve that.
Right. Well, it sounds like, your bread and butter are these challenger brands that are being overspent. Their competitors are competitively overspending, but, the agency also has to make a buck. What is like the typical size of, it can be in revenue or headcount, of a client of yours?
Again, that varies, but they need to be funded, right? They need to understand what things cost to do. They need to be committed. Headcount. We've worked with companies as small as 10 or 15 people, but they were funded and they were serious and they were committed to doing what they were doing. And they started at 15 people. I can think right now, that same client that's with us is now at, like, I don't know, 3,000 people. So it's a growth process, and it's a partnership, right? And that's how we like to look at this: is a company that's going to look at us as a partner, not a vendor, right? Not a vendor that is just, you're going to do, video, or you're going to do creative, or you're going to do whatever for me. And, but we want to be a partnership. Let us help you help build this company, and let's do it together. And when we work together, great things happen. I mean, literally great things happen. So it can be a company of any size, any industry, but they have to understand they're a challenger brand, right? And what that means is you got to be a little scrappy, and scrappy can be whether you're a startup or you can be a long time company, right? That's been out there a long time, but all of a sudden you realize things aren't working quite as well as they used to. We have a few competitors now that are in the market that are starting to hurt us. But what we used to do that worked is not working anymore. Those types of clients are perfect for us, because we get in there and really kind of get under the hood and turn things around. And the same thing for even startups or even companies that are doing well. They just want to be better, but they can't assume that what they're doing is right. They can't assume what they're saying is the right thing. They have to go through the process to know for sure. Because once you know for sure, that's when the magic happens.
It's so interesting, just as a side note, to hear that it's San Francisco verbiage to say, like, this company has to be funded. Because I imagine in your space, there's a lot of like tech companies that, like, I've done some work for some tech companies, and they appear like kind of soulless, and they're quick, and they're in and out. You don't know what's going on. So
Yeah, you're right. Very few of those succeed. And but that, I think tech companies have that reputation, but not all of them are like that. We've worked with a lot of them. They're not all like that. They're very serious about what they do, the solutions they've come up with are game changing. But you can have, to me, great marketing can sell a bad product. Okay.
Oh yeah, we see it with
you see it everywhere, right?
Boo dolls right now. Yeah.
Yeah, you see it everywhere. But, great marketing can just do wonders with a great product. And you can have a lot of folks think they have a great product and they're not going to put the marketing backing behind it, and it never really takes off. It really never really achieves the capability or the heights that it can. And that's kind of what we do. We help them do that.
If you'd like our audience to take away one moment or anything that you kind of want to say, what would it be?
Yeah, and your audience is vast. So I'll talk to anyone in your audience who's a business owner, a CMO, a CEO who's running a company right now. And my aha would be, don't assume that you know. Don't think you know what makes you different from your competitors, or don't assume you know what you have to say to a customer or a new customer to get them to pick you over your competitors. You need to go through a process of discovery to understand what that is. Because ultimately, what you want to be is you want to become famous for something, right? You want to become known in the market for something. Oh, you're the company that, right? And that's ultimately what you want to do. And you don't get to that point by assuming or guessing. Because I've been doing this a long time, Adam. I can tell you 100% of the time, when we start these processes, our clients will say, "Oh yeah, I know this is what our clients need to hear us say."
Oh, right.
When we go through the process, 100% of the time, it's not. It's
Yeah.
completely different. And not only is it different from what they think, it's different internally what each other of them think in the company. So it's really eye-opening for them but now they have that knowledge, and now they can really move forward in full stride.
Yeah, I think one of the worst attributes that a founder can have is one who doesn't really know it's their own customer.
Or I would even add to that, say, assume you know.
Assuming, yeah. And there's
It's
just
the
so much
assume.
insulation.
Yeah, it's the assume, I think, is the most dangerous word in branding and advertising and digital marketing, anything in our industry. It's that assume word, because most of the time when you assume, if not all the time when you assume, you're wrong. And in this business, you have to be absolutely right if you want to truly grow a business to its fullest extent.
Well, thanks so much, John. I really appreciate it. And big thing. I hope big things happen for Gumas in the future. It sounds like you guys are already doing an incredible job, and uh, I'm excited to see some more of your campaigns.
Oh, thanks, Adam. It was a real pleasure. Really enjoyed it.
All right.